Hi, hello, and welcome to Camp Could Be Worse. This episode, you'll be hearing our fireside chat version of this program, which is, as usual, a comedic literary analysis of dystopian novels. The reason for our stylistic change is because we had a weird snapping, crackling audio problem that we really couldn't get rid of, so we embraced it. Instead of the gentle water torture that was the randomized crackling, you will hear the sweet sounds of a nighttime fire, toasting your toes, warming your heart, and giving your sweatshirt a perennially smoked odor. We recommend you pair this episode with s'mores, gorp, and a liberal spritzing of bug spray to really hop on that summer camp vibe. Be aware that, content warning-wise, in this episode there is mention of rape. We talk about body horror, aliens, limb loss, and Bridget's healthy fear of road trip kidnapping. We encourage you to interact with that subject matter in whatever way is healthiest for you. So sit back, relax, weave yourself a friendship bracelet, and enjoy the show.
Sky smoky overhead, all your friends are dead, and your government heads despise you. Members of the church criticize you. Aliens annexed your country. When the rats or the plague or the bread or the circus or the prevailing lack of a meaningful purpose, if injustice or sadness or robots feel like a curse, books never let you forget. It could be worse.
We're back. Hey.
Hello.
So we had to jump straight into the recording because I was about to explain something to Bridget. But before I do, I want to know how Bridget is, because Bridget had a big life change.
Yeah,
Since last episode.
I had a big life change. I moved. Yeah.
She's back in the good state. Not that
I'm
Texas
back
is a
in
bad state, but she's back in my
Texas.
state.
As someone who's now driven across the entirety of Texas, Texas is not a good state. I'm gonna take these stands here. I drove from Austin, Texas to beautiful Silverdale, Washington, and then I took the ferry over to Quidby Island.
You said it like
which is where I live now.
Quidby. You put a
Quidby.
Q in there. Where'd that come
Quidby.
from, buddy?
It's Quidby.
Quidby.
Quidby. Yeah, I drove across. For people who are like, the shortest route is to drive through Colorado. This episode is coming out in December, so I drove in December. I'm not driving through Colorado and the Rockies in December, because I'm not stupid. So I did the going across West Texas, shooting into New Mexico, Arizona. Then I went over through the Californian desert to LA, and then I went up from LA on the 101. All the way up into Washington. And let me tell you, oh boy, some stressful driving.
Yeah, I don't envy that even a little bit.
So, I do want to talk about this thing that happened. This thing. So, we both are fairly big fans of, like, cryptid shit and, like, conspiracy theories.
Yep. These are all my favorite things.
So, I was gonna really try to, because I wanted to spend a lot of time in California. I did do one day in California where I kind of got pretty much no driving done. I got like 5 hours as opposed to like every other day when I was doing 10 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't gonna really do anything in New Mexico or Arizona because there's nothing on the 10, really. The 10 is your straight shot. It's not your scenic route. But there was this attraction in Arizona, and I saw signs for it, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of this. It's called The Thing.
Go on.
So The Thing is has billboards, I think going back all the way, if I remember reading it correctly, the billboards start in Louisiana.
Wow.
And it tells you, like, what exit you need to do on Arizona and, like, what highway. And as you get closer, it's like, next exit. So I was like, you know what? I love this dumb shit. It sounds like I need to get... I need to get gas. It's, like, kind of connected to a gas station. It's this museum, and it's got the thing. But it also has other stuff, including, like, these really bizarre, like, wood etchings and, like, memorabilia said to be owned by, that was, like, supposedly owned by Hitler.
Okay, well, that's... I was gonna say, yeah, culture, and then, that,
It's a mix between culture and then, like, evil, dark artifacts.
Yeah.
Like, cursed objects. Cursed objects. Sure. It's a cursed objects museum that's attached to a, like, gas station, basically.
I mean, and minus the Hitler, that is the dream.
Yeah. So, I was like, you know what, I'll stop there. I have to get gas. I'll go in. It's only like $1. And I'm like, what a bargain for such a kitschy tourist trap. The thing, by the way, for those who don't want to go look it up, it's the supposed mummified remains of a, like, mother and a child dating back, like, super, super far. Like, it doesn't look like...
the name The Thing is, unsurprisingly, reductive.
Yeah. It doesn't, they don't super look like people because they're so small. Like, in a way, and the way they're shaped makes them look more like prehistory, like, carvings, almost.
Uh-huh.
There's pictures of the thing online. I just wanted to see it in person, because I was like, that'll be fun. That'll be a fun trip. So I pull up to the exit. The exit is, I think it's exit 323 on the I-10 in Arizona. There is nothing for about at least 20 miles in either direction. It's all desert, and deserty farmland. I pull up. There's almost no one else there except for, I guess, the car of the person working there. And this guy, sitting in this shitty sedan, he is by himself. He has a cardboard sign that says, "Family stranded, need help." He's the only person there.
Ooh.
And I paused for a moment. And then I immediately turned and, like, kept going on the highway. Because you get those
Bridget
gut
is not
feelings.
gonna get murdered in the desert.
I was not about to get... My mom compared it to Criminal Minds. I would say it's a little bit more House of a Thousand Corpses. Because of the attraction element.
That's
like,
true. That's
stop
true.
by this creepy museum and become a part of it. You know, very House of Wax. Yeah. Which was also inconvenient because I had just listened to I was, like, listening to a podcast on the way that was talking about House of Wax.
Ooh. Bridget.
Yeah.
That part you maybe set yourself up for a little bit. You couldn't know that there was a definitely lying fella trying to use the prospect of a family to lure you out to die in the sands, but listening to something about a murderous tourist attraction when you're headed to a tourist attraction.
It was like the day before.
Okay.
Like, but I will say, I got one of those gut feelings, so I did not go see The Thing. Maybe when I have other people with me and, like, I can throw them at the murderers.
Maybe when you have a family to get stranded in the desert, you know? Like,
yeah.
Maybe that's when the
it's
thing
my
will
turn.
call you again.
But yeah, I didn't do much. I just drove. I went to LA, and I got to meet Jesse Thorne, and that was really cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, how did you... I missed the context for how that happened when you sent that message earlier.
So how that happened was Jesse Thorne, and actually how I originally heard of Jesse Thorne is through this menswear blog called Put This On.
Mm-hmm. I'm familiar.
So I've been following that menswear blog, and they have a shop, and they did a pop-up shop in Pasadena. I showed up, and I was the only person there, and I got to talk to Jesse Thorne and Dan. I forget his last name.
I can edit this if you want to look it up real quick.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It starts with a C.
Well,
there's only like 4 writers on Put This On. It's okay.
Okay.
But I mean, Dan never told me his last name. We spoke for about 2 hours. Wow. Because at one point Jesse had to leave and still no one was coming up. And it wasn't because I was there. There was just no one at the pop-up shops that early because it started at 10 a.m. and it was going until 5 p.m.
Did you purchase anything?
I did. I got a cool pin.
Nice.
And it's an antique. It's a little thistle, and it says Glasgow underneath it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Well,
I also went to Solvang and ate a shit ton of fried food.
Congrats.
I texted you the picture of the Ebelskever I had.
Yeah, you did. Love me a skeeb.
Yeah, it's so very good. Solvang's a cute little Bavarian town in California. A couple, not too far away from LA, about an hour and a half. I did stay at a haunted hotel.
Ooh. Were you spooked by any ghosts?
I wish. I will say the painting that's in that hallway is very haunted looking.
Did you, sleep well? Did you have, a bad dream?
I didn't sleep well, but not because of that, but so it happened to be their Christmas festival that night, so all the roads were blocked off for their parade.
Looks like the only spirit in this hotel was the Christmas spirit.
Yeah. There were, also 8 Christmas parties happening in their various and sundry ballrooms, and then across the street is the high school. Mm-hmm. So until 11-something at night, there was a football game happening.
Damn.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, Santa Maria was freaking off and popping that first weekend in December, first Friday of December.
Well, congrats to Party Town Santa Maria.
Yeah.
And now you're here in Washington, and yet still not in the same room as me.
Next time. I think next time we're going to record, so episode 6, which will reveal the book at the end, mostly because I don't remember what it is.
We'll figure it out. It's all good. Hey, do you want to talk about the book that we read?
Yeah, well, I do want to know what you did a little bit.
Oh, I've just been kicking around. I'm in the long process of adopting a dog, which I'm very excited about. But I don't want to talk about it too much because he's so precious and pure that because the process is a little bit longer, just because of his particular psychological circumstances, I keep I'm just worried that if I talk about it too much, I'm gonna jinx it.
That's fair. No, that's completely fair.
I have all these pictures of him and some videos that I took when I first met him that are very cute, but I haven't posted anywhere because I did.
Except in our group chat.
Yeah, no.
Which I have shown. Yeah, I've shown those too. Everyone, I'm like, guys, look at the dog my friend is getting.
He's really cute. Okay, I can't.
Anyway, let's talk about our book.
Yeah. So the thing I was going to explain to you earlier, which is why I had to start recording before I explained it, is so what was happening is that my battery on my Kindle's dying right now, and so I can't refer back to anything. But here's where I'm at with this. So to the audience, in case you've forgotten the title of the podcast you're listening to right now, I don't think we actually said this could be worse with Caitlin and Bridget, and this episode is on Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde, which is how it's just decided.
Ford.
No, it's Fforde.
Fforde.
Yeah. So I don't know if this is true as I'm saying it. I'm pretty sure this is the first book that we've read for the podcast that I haven't read previously.
It might be. This is not the first for me in that case. That was the only one I haven't read before was Clockwork Orange, I think?
Yeah.
Have I read all the rest of them?
Here's the thing, Bridget.
No. Oh, The Host. I hadn't read The Host.
Oh.
Because I respect myself.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't, so I had. But
this one...
I read this one. I just need to tell you this, Bridget.
Okay, yes.
I hadn't read this one before. And I want you to know that I started it with the best of intentions of being just on top of it, professional. keen insights. But here's the thing. Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde is one of the greatest books I've ever read. And so I got maybe 3/4 of the way through a page in terms of typing up notes. And then I just stopped and enjoyed the book entirely. So I have no notes. I have nothing that I need to refer back to. So it doesn't matter that my Kindle battery is dying, because I'm just going to be elated and
Excited
just
to
talking
talk
about
this
my
book.
feelings and how good this is. And just excitedly extrapolating off whatever more cogent thoughts that you might have.
Yeah, so I have actually read this book before. It is one of my favorite books. So I'm super glad that you
Understandably.
enjoyed it. Yeah, it's a very delightful book. If you guys, you audience, beloved audience, have gone ahead and read this book, one, I highly suggest that you do. A lot of the stuff we say is not going to make sense if you haven't read it, because it's very complicated in a way that Jasper Fforde's writing tends to be. If you've ever read his Thursday Next series, or the Nursery Crimes Division series, which is actually a spin-off of the Thursday Next series, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. He writes with such immense detail and gets just so knee-deep, neck-deep even, in the minutia of the universes that he creates.
Yeah.
It's just so fantastic to read his work. He creates his other series. I would say Nursery Crimes is more of like fantasy noir, but Thursday Next also definitely takes place in a dystopia. Thursday Next takes place in a world where artists and like artists of all kinds, so musicians and writers and art and painters, are like venerated as the all of society. And it's very weird. There's a lot of hallmarks of his universes in Shades of Grey as well. One, right off the bat, there's megafauna.
Yeah, I fucking love... Oh, God, everything about it's so good. Okay, I need to say a thing, because this is usually... We've already passed the point in the podcast where we usually have a summary. And I haven't written it yet, because I don't entirely know how to summarize this book in such a way that it does it justice.
It's really
Because-
complicated. I guess, I mean...
Here's the thing, like, the plot isn't that complicated. The plot makes sense and is really straightforward, but everything that is interesting about this book, like you said, very minutia based, like everything about, like, there's the summary, but everything about the book is like completely uncapturable with a summary. So I'm just gonna insert the summary right here. Here, now. It's starting. Shades of Grey is a book whose plot so completely depends on the minutiae of the world it builds that our usual in-depth synopsis falls to the wayside this week in favor of a robust summary. Set in the land of Chromatasia, a world governed by an arbitrary rulebook of intentionally limited knowledge and grotesquely precise etiquette set forth by the beloved Munsell, a man who envisioned a simpler, clearer way of existing after a mysterious something that happened destroyed our modern world. Another guiding principle in this society is the selective colorblindness in the population that has led to a strict caste system based on the results of each citizen's color perception test, a hierarchy known as the colortocracy. In order of amount of power, purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and lastly, gray. We meet our protagonist, red-perceiving Eddie Russet, on his way to a disciplinary assignment in the distant outer fringe town of East Carmine. As punishment for suggesting a non-regulation way to stand in line, he is being tasked with taking a census of the number of chairs in town. He travels with his father, a swatchman who heals other citizens by showing them specific colors that affect pain, healing, and bodily processes. On his way, he witnesses the collapse and death of a gray citizen falsely passing himself off as a purple, and the distraught visage of a young woman who is apparently connected to the man and his last criminal act. She disappears into the crowd, and Eddie makes his way out of this town and to his destination at East Carmine, where he is surprised to run into her again, a gray servant in Eddie and his father's new home. Also present in the house is a strange naked man who, Eddie is informed, is not to be acknowledged according to the rules of Munsell, but this rule-exempt stranger knows more than he seems. Eddie and his father are thrown into navigating the complex social rules and loopholes of East Carmine, weathering abrasive purples, sanctimonious yellows, unscrupulous reds, and the grieving family of the Swatchman his father has been called to replace, an old friend who died under mysterious circumstances. Eddie is buffeted about by social forces, breaks a few rules of his own, and pursues the truth about and company of the Grey Girl, Jane, finding himself in the middle of a conspiracy that could bring down the rules of his world. Also, he gets eaten by a tree a few times. Okay, and now it's done. So
wow, gee whiz, that was such a summary, Caitlin.
I know.
You really blew that one out of the water.
I
I'm
was
so proud
really
of you.
worried about it, and then I did it perfectly.
You did so good.
So you were gonna say a thing about the megafauna as like a trademark of Jasper Fforde.
Yeah, so one thing he likes to do, he did this in the Thursday Next series as well, is it's a thing in the Thursday Next series where they have figured out genetic coding so that they can bring back previously extinct animals. In Thursday Next, they talk a lot about like different things. The main character primarily has a dodo for a pet named Pickering. Sweet boy, sweet Pickering. And like that, he isn't even like the best dodo they've made. He's like an old version of the genetic code that they've managed to create, so they just create clones of the dodos, and give them they give them numbers, so they're all numbered, which
That's
is
the
another
thing.
thing that happens in this, the taxa numbers.
Can we talk about the taxa numbers for a little bit?
Let's talk about the taxa numbers and the barcodes.
Yeah, so an interesting thing that Jasper Fforde does is that he somehow in this world has it so that like all animals have a barcode, even like at birth, right?
Yes.
Like they just naturally have a barcode, and it's one of the things that makes it be like, Jasper, what is actually afoot here? Like he doesn't explain. It's so an important thing to note is that I went into this like, oh cool, a series, because at the end of the book it's like, oh, these characters will come back in these two books that already have titles.
We will get to my extreme displeasure and annoyance with that old concept.
Yeah. But, like, what it essentially ends up meaning is that you have all of these really tantalizing hints at what must be, A, underneath the dystopia that they're currently in, but B, what happened to the world. Because there's enough, hints that, like, no, this is definitely for sure our world. Because at the beginning, I was like, is it possible that they're not human? Or then, no, they're definitely human. Is it possible that they're, like, somehow fake in some way? Like,
I have a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah, but because things like the barcodes being genetic and, like, inherent in animals don't make sense in an organic world. But, like, there's a certain point where a Caravaggio painting is, like, described, and there's, you know, a scene from Indiana Jones is described.
The painting they're describing is of Judith beheading John the Baptist.
Yeah, but they call it something like frowny
or
girl,
furnace or whatever. Yeah,
frowny girl taking Beardy's head.
Yeah, something like that. And then there's also a Vermeer that's described. So small things that are of the previous that they do describe is The Little Engine That Could is a story that is no longer in the library because of defacting. So most of the stuff, this is like things that have made it through the defacting. The Fords, the board game Risk is thought to be a map of the world.
Yeah.
Which is very funny, because they're like, oh, if you know, then they think that, like, all of the colors are represented on the Risk map, so to them it would kind of make sense. Same thing for Monopoly.
Yeah.
Being the first, like, colorized, like, breakdown of society. But what I love, Scrabble's still Scrabble.
Yeah, Scrabble's just the same.
Yeah.
I do want to say real quick,
everyone loves Scrabble.
This book is so fucking funny. Like, it is... And it's funny in such a way that, like, even before there's, like, a little hint that it's in the UK, like, the type of humor is very specifically of the UK.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's extremely, extremely British.
Yeah.
Most of his books are. I will say, they do tell you where this book takes place. They do.
And you especially know it if you ever have seen an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because
I'm trying to find the page.
Oh, you go.
Oh, it's in Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Welsh.
Because when she puts the key in the road that makes the road work properly, is Cymru, or however you pronounce Welsh.
Perpetuate Hill, Calfanan, Cymru, Seshwin, Wedi Cody.
I mean, it sounds
words that are
to me.
Around numbers. Yes.
American. A red, a blooded American.
I'm just running off of fucking Gavin and Stacey when it comes to Welsh pronunciation. TBH.
Yeah, God, the book was just... I feel... Here's the thing. Is this podcast gonna be any good? I don't know. Because I am rudderless with delight. Bridget, I've never been so waylaid. Because I started this book, I had no idea what was going on. I don't know if this is everyone's experience, but if I have a difficult time parsing what's going on, I have a difficult time, like, anchoring myself enough to remember stuff. And so, like, for the first chapter and a half, I was like, sure, what? And not really retaining anything. And then after the spotted gray in the paint shop dies, I was like, okay, we are into it now, and, like, started retaining stuff. So I started feeling really foundationless, and then when I, like, finally picked up speed, I started taking notes, and then I just quickly fell in love with it so much that I could not stop reading to think about it critically, which is the whole point of this podcast. But so I don't know what cogent thoughts I can bring to this, except what a joy.
I will say this is the first book that we've read for the podcast. We made it 5 episodes. I'm very proud of us. We made it 5 episodes before we found a book where we're like, it's just a good book.
Yeah.
It's just a good book. We're gonna talk about it. I will say this is probably gonna be the episode I'm gonna sound the most tin hatty about. Like, I am gonna sound a little bit internet conspiracy theorist.
Look, that's my favorite way to sound half the time. So,
but this is the first book that I feel like, I'm not gonna dump on it. I will dump on Jasper a little bit, but we'll save that for later on. Love him, God knows, but
yeah,
I've got
some peeves.
I'm a little peeved. So okay. I want to know, so a lot of this is also going to be us asking questions. What are flak towers? Because I could never really get that. Do you know what flak towers are? What was that building? Because I can't figure it out.
I mean, I think I just kind of imagined it as like a concrete tower, like maybe like an air traffic control style tower, or like it could also just straight up be like a like a building. I don't know, like flak.
That was the thing. That was the thing where I'm like, what is that? Because they've taken, the whole thing is that they've taken, like, the windows and the framing off, but it's still just, like, so now it's just a concrete block, and I'm like, okay, well, what is that in society? Dear listeners, if you know what a flag tower is, let us know on Twitter at CouldBeWorsePod, because
please, we so ignorant.
We so ignorant. Is that a thing? I wonder if it might be like a British thing.
I don't know. Here's
if it's like a British structure, because y'all fucking weird, so I don't know.
If it's left over from the bad thing that happened, or whatever they call it.
The something that happened.
If it's left over from the something that happened, it could honestly be like, because flak is like it's not quite shrapnel or a bomb, but you know what I mean? Like
it could be
catching artillery, basically, like a catch flak or something, right? Is that true?
Talk about the something that happened. Let's just dive into the something that happened. And I'm going to state my case as to why it's aliens. It's aliens. It's aliens.
What? Bridget, talk to me about this, because I was imagining a lot of different things that could come out of your mouth, and not once did it occur to me that aliens might be your theory. Which I love it, but
there's we see that they have, so they don't use electricity.
This is true. Sorry, I was yawning.
They don't use it. Yeah, it's fine. They don't use electricity. But they do have the perpetualite, which is the roadway that they use, and it's super advanced, like very extremely advanced in ways that I don't think. And the way it consumes organic matter, I don't believe is something humanity would invent on their own. Plus the genetic coding, it all seems very like something that's not human interfered with the humans. And the way the riffraff react to being caught by Homo coloribus, which are what our main characters are, rings true of the way in movies and in books, how, as we've seen in The Host, how humans behave towards aliens.
So you don't think that the riffraff, because they say that the riffraff are definitely humans, don't they?
Yes, no, that's what I'm saying. The riffraff are the humans reacting to the aliens, the Homo coloribus, and the head office.
But like,
because the riffraff are actually the indigenous.
Yeah, which I think is just a bastardization of the word indigenous.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's like so many words in this book. They're bastardizations and like shortenings of words that we use today.
Yeah.
So it's just the perpetualite seems like such a weird road system where it can consume organic matter, but it can be controlled by a control panel, and it moves the inorganic matter along. That's how they have their railways. Their railways are not electric; they're powered by the perpetualite pushing them forward.
I see what you're saying.
There's also, I don't know exactly what it is, but so Lucy Oker proposes her belief that the music of the spheres, which is a long-held ancient belief, is a series of giant tuning forks. But the way things interact and the fact that there are no electronics, I'm thinking, here we go. I told you, I'm going to sound like a crazy person on the internet. Magnets. It's electromagnetic force.
So, I hear this.
It's also the floaties. The floaties. How do you explain the floaties, Caitlin?
Bridget, I don't know how I explain the floaties. Because I don't... I don't know what the fuck is going on in this extremely good book. And but yeah, does anyone know what the fuck is going on in this book besides
Also,
Jasper, who apparently decided not to tell anyone?
Also, the fallen man
Okay. Yeah.
is an astronaut.
Here's a thought that I'm having.
Yes.
Both of our thoughts can exist in the same universe. So a thing that I was considering was, and I thought it would be delightful if true, because I don't think that there necessarily needs to be, like, a moral, about, like, a specific tact to take. Okay, I'm gonna stop prefacing this. I think there's an interesting possibility, because so many dystopian novels are based on the idea, like, oh, like, Earth is running out of resources, we are poisoning the Earth, we're really fucking it up Earth-wise. And I thought that the way that Perpetualite fuels itself, in terms of, like, just, any organic matter that is around it, it runs off of that. And that's the only energy source that it requires. Was like, oh, that's kind of like a smart use of green energy. And so I thought, and they're depopulating the Earth over time, and slowly leaping back technology. And so it would be interesting if the whole point was to, like, preoccupy everybody while the Earth heals. And, like, yeah, a lot of people are gonna suffer for that, but, like the book says, like, if fewer suffer so that more people can live, like, if they're waging the entire, like, weighing the entire planet against the lives of a few people for a few generations, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be really interesting if he was like, look, it's not the fact that the Earth, like, I'm not looking at the fact that, like, yeah, green energy's good. Like, green energy is best for the planet, but, like, how would you implement enforcing all green energy for long enough that the Earth has a chance to recover?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that can work, especially
Yeah.
because, so you hear about animals that in Wales would not normally be running rampant, flamingos, giraffes,
Yeah. Rhinos.
Rhinos.
Also, the rabbits are going extinct. There's the last rabbit.
Yeah. It seems like such a weird imbalance in the universe. Mm-hmm. I don't know, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah. And I think that they could live side by side, and that, like, maybe aliens came to Earth and had those technologies, and then humans were like, yeah, but we know how humans work, so let's do this thing. They're not going to accept aliens, so let's say that you're head office and, like, have humans involved in the process of, like, saving the planet. But it was, like, alien-led. I'm just saying, we are really sounding like a couple of kooks.
Yep, we, oh boy. So yeah, it's very interesting. So, let's talk a little bit about the fuck Homo coloribus works.
Okay.
'Cause it's bonkers.
Yeah, it don't make a ton of sense.
So, so this is actually not the it could happen section. This is just me being interested in, like, how vision works, because this part could not happen. Mm-hmm. This part where it's like you can breed out and shut off, like, okay, the idea that you could breed colorblindness to the specificity, especially, like, monochrome, not a thing. Not a thing in humans.
Yeah.
Not a thing. So your pupil takes in light, your iris controls your pupil. Homo coloribus has a very, like, pinprick-sized pupil.
Yeah.
Which probably accounts for how little color they're seeing, because
They're just not getting any light.
They're not getting any light into their eyes. So 64%, and so this is why it's like, oh, it's so rare to have a purple. So 64% of your cones respond to red-based lights, 33-ish% are set off by the green, and 2 to 3% are blue.
Yeah.
Which is not necessarily how this world works.
Yeah, especially because you have natural pigment, or natural colors and hues, and then you have univisual color that everyone can see for some reason.
Yeah, but in this world, everything's gray except for the colors that you specifically can see more of, and they have to pump in artificial color, which
is the univisual.
Which is the univisual, which is, they're running on CYMK, or CYM now. So cyan, magenta, yellow. But the question is, it's like, okay, cool, but like, that piping system, that interests me, like the color gardens.
Yeah.
Is fascinating to me. Because I could not suss out how that's gonna work, really.
Yeah. Can I say
especially
something?
Because it gets onto a tree near high saffron, so that a whole tree is magenta, but it's just like a burst pipe, I guess?
Yeah. Which they also don't know why there's pipes way out in high saffron.
Yeah. Oh,
there
well,
has to be a reason, but Jasper Fforde isn't telling us.
I mean, it was clearly a city at some point.
Yeah.
Presumably before they started killing people.
Yeah. Also, the mildew... the mildew doesn't make sense, but the root of that is that, like, the medicine in this world doesn't make sense.
So that is... I do want to talk about that. So, I believe that they have some kind of, blocker on their visual cortex. Probably on their whole cerebral joint. That causes...
whole joint up there.
That
whole
big
party is just being pushed on.
Yeah, so they have something on their visual cortex, some kind of block that causes the pupil to stay constricted and makes their visual cortex misfire. Mm-hmm. It also accounts for, potentially why they... so there's a part that it's a proof that there's some kind of computer blocker in there, is that... when Eddie and Jane enable the Gordini protocol, NC7Z, they override this system. It says they've overridden. It's like an override.
Yeah.
That allows them to, A, see all color, proving that they can.
Yeah.
And B, it allows them to no longer be affected by color within a certain window, which saves them from the mildew. I think that this is also connected to the mildew, that it is something that is implanted in them, and that when they see the color, what Jane calls greed, it removes the blocker for that, and it's some kind of fungal infection
that just takes over your whole body.
That just takes over your whole... Similar to our from our host episodes, the cordyceps.
Yeah, I was
from
gonna
the
say,
ant.
This book felt a little bit like a fever dream of all of our episodes so far. Because, initially Jane kind of was framed the same as the girl in Fahrenheit 451, except instead of a gentle baby, she was like a violent monster lady.
I'll murder you, I'll murder your family.
Which I love. You had the librarians memorizing books. The demerit system to me was akin to what the marketing receptiveness score that you had from Feed was. Rebooting as a concept is really similar to the Ludovico technique from Clockwork Orange. And the mildew was like a really strong throwback to the host episode. So it was just like a fun melange of all of the ideas that we've kind of looked at so far, which was really fun in terms of being like, Jasper, you really are reflecting as much of dystopia as you can. Not that I think that, the host was high on his list of dystopias to look at.
Oh, God, no.
But...
Jasper, big Stephanie Meyer fan.
Oh, huge. Stephen Jasp. There was a Jasper in a Stephanie Meyer book. What if she's a huge fan?
I mean, she might be. He's been writing for a very long time. Did you know there's a Jasper Fforde book festival?
I did not know this.
Every year that you can go to. It's like 2 days long, and it is in Wales. And it is very silly, and there's a bunch of themed activities. Mostly themed around the Thursday Next series, because that's like a landmark series for him.
Which I'm now gonna have to read fucking all of, because this was just like infuriatingly
like I said,
good.
It's a little bit more science fiction-y and a little bit more fantasy, I guess.
Wait, Thursday
it's very
Next
good,
was, or
though.
this is?
Thursday Next is.
Okay.
This is a little bit, obviously, it's a dystopia. In fact, so this is an interesting thing that I found out working at a bookstore. At some schools, this is now on the required reading list.
Really?
Of some AP classes.
Oh, this
some
doesn't
AP and honors
actually
classes
surprise me now I think about it.
Use this in their dystopia, unit.
Huh. I mean, I wish that had been assigned to me.
I know, yeah. We're a few years too late.
Yeah. We old. It's fine. We gonna die one day.
Yep. They still read Fahrenheit 451 and stuff like that, but this is new.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting, but yeah, I think it's a neural blocker. The mildew is the thing where it's like, I think it is something that's just inside of them. It is a very interesting thing that they chose to make it, an impossible color because it's a red-green.
Yeah, wait, can you say that again? I'm sorry. I started thinking about the book and I drifted off.
It's what's called an impossible color.
Uh-huh.
Which means that technically it can't exist. Like, our brain has to, like, kind of puzzle it out and separate it from what I've read.
Mm-hmm.
From how I understand it. It's not really a true red-green can't exist.
Interesting.
One color will always be more dominant. But I thought that was interesting that that's the color they chose to make it. The Gordini protocol, by the way, Gordini is named after the car company's signature blue that they used on the car, which is also it's French blue. Huh. It's the very famous French blue that's on the heraldic, like, French coat of arms thing with the the blue with the gold fleur-de-lis on it.
Yeah,
it's that color.
I've got an ounce of culture. I've seen a picture.
I've seen a picture
in my time.
What kind of picture? Who could say?
I know of France.
Yeah. So that's what that is. The colors that they describe are very interesting. So green makes you kind of trip balls.
Yeah, it's like an opioid.
Yeah, it's an opioid color. Certain shades of, like, reddish brown make you give you some gastric trouble. I believe the color used for ovulation is some kind of purple.
Yeah.
And they can promote healing as well. So that is actually what I wanted to talk about. That is my it could happen.
Can I, before you get into it?
Yes.
And you might touch on it, and so you can be like, shut up, I have a plan. A thing that didn't make a ton of sense to me in the book was how fucking blasé everyone was about their body parts coming off. Like, people's ears came off left and right. Tomo, like, took his toe off
No, it wasn't his toe. So it was a toe that was from the dead person in Rusty Hills.
Okay, that's fair. But, like...
Yeah,
people's
but
ears
that,
came
no,
off left and right. People, like...
People were breaking parts of their body so intensely in this book.
And, like, there was this one time, like, when...
And when the toe is put in the water jug and the person goes, oh, there's a toe in my water. They're not, like, freaked out that there's a rotten corpse toe in there. They're, like, just kind of put off.
Yeah. There's also, like, a girl who walks into Eddie's dad's, like, clinic. And she just, like, was like, oh, I cut my finger off. Could you, it looks like you're really busy, so I can just come back. And it's like, who are you people?
Yeah, that's the thing that I can't explain. Mm-hmm. Once again, aliens.
Oh my god, I just had a thought. Holy shit. Okay. Oh no, I'm gonna sound real crazy now. I got way too excited.
Give into it. Give into it.
Dumb.
Embrace it. Grab a strainer, wrap it in tinfoil.
Tuck
Join
it atop
me.
my noggin. Okay. So, what if, Bridget, they are dead already?
Ooh.
What if the color people are dead? Still a little computer back there helping them stay alive and such. Nope, I take this back. This doesn't make any sense because they have babies.
They do have, well, they have to be given an... So they use the word egg chit?
Oh, yeah, maybe... Oh, Bridget, what if they are dead?
So I think they have to be... Because you have to be allocated an egg chit.
Yeah. Because, here's the thing. Shit comes off them for no particular reason. Like, ears and fingers and stuff come off super easy.
They do bleed, though.
They do bleed. But, like, what if they are being kept alive by a computer that's programmed to respond to color?
That's an interesting thought. I like that thought.
Anything could be fucking true of this book. I don't know what's happening, and I want to know when he hasn't written the 2 other books that he's already titled.
So let's get into this. We'll get into this now.
Okay.
I'm about to. I love Jasper. Mm-hmm. Love you, Jas. I'm about to light this motherfucker up.
Good, because Bridget, I feast upon your delicious rage.
So this book was published. Let me flip over to the page. This book was published in 2009. I believe I read this in 2011 at the latest. Yeah. Was when I read this book. So here's the thing that I have a problem with. He promises at the end of this book that he's going to write more. I guess I've been reading up on like more in depth onto like as to why these books have not appeared. I guess initially book sales for Shades of Grey were very bad.
This is infuriating to me.
So he was like, I'm in no hurry to write anymore. He focused on a young adult series that he has about dragons.
I love a dragon.
Which has now been adapted into a TV show that just premiered on Sky in the UK. So I will say he has been busy. It's not like he hasn't been busy. But at the same time, when you leave a cliffhanger like this, when you leave so much unexplained like this for so fucking long, 8 years. It's 8 years. It's almost 9 years.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing about this book. It's the one frustrating thing about this book. The only thing this book is setup. This is setting up a world, end of. That's it. The plot, the entire thing of what is going to happen with this world now that it exists is dependent on the other books. And so it's just like,
We are, in the future books, we are going to get into some John le Carre level spying and intrigue.
Yeah.
Provided Eddie gets international color, which he probably will.
He's got
we don't know. In fact, so here's what's the worst part. He has mentioned now that he might work on another book, because this is what he gets asked about the most.
Oh, good.
I'm not even joking. This is what he gets asked about the most. When are you going to write the sequels? And he's like, well, they didn't perform too well, so I'm not sure if they do too well. But, like, when you get asked about it for almost 9 years nonstop, hey, buddy, they're doing pretty okay.
Here's the thing.
But also, he's going to write a prequel.
You motherfucker.
Right, yeah. So I'm not saying, hey, guys, if you want to bug him on Twitter, be my guest. But if you want to bug him on Twitter, be my fucking guest. If you have any access to any kind of literary conference where he's going to be at, I need you to storm up to that panel. I need you to elbow some fucking shitty-ass librarians out of the way of the mic, and you be like, hey, yo, Jazz, where my fucking sequels to Shades of Grey at, you dipshit?
Yeah, see, because there's like a siren going off in the background over on this side,
I think
it just adds atmosphere and urgency to my thing I'm about to say. So, Jasper, someone needs to, like, go up to him, just, like, poke him in the tummy and be like, I know what your fucking shit is, Fforde. This is not about book sales. This is about you engaging in literary edging. That's what this is. Jasp. Because...
You sick fuck.
You
leave your
fucking playing your
fetish-
power games with
leave
your
your-
delicious writing.
Hey, Jasper, leave your fetishes out of this.
Yeah. We didn't agree to be in this scene, Jasper. Okay?
I'm gonna safe word out of here.
We came in seeking satisfaction. Look at us.
It's super
We're
infuriating.
in disgrace right now.
It's super infuriating.
And to go back to a prequel, to even suggest it, Jasper.
Unless
It's
you're
as
about
if
to
you
do
don't
some
care.
revelatory shit in that fucking prequel. Don't you George R. R. Martin this where you're like, I'm just gonna hang out in the prequels. No!
Unacceptable.
Finish the goddamn story!
I'm not going to act like I wouldn't love some backstory as to how the world happened, but something tells me that our good man Jasp is not going to give that to us. It's just going to be like,
God, no.
Did you want to know a little bit more about the Demoves? No, buddy, I don't. I want to know what the fuck is going on. Is it aliens or environmentalists, or are they all dead? What's happening?
So, feel free to say some stuff online. I'm not going to stop you. Or if you're, like I said, if you go to a literary conference, if I go to a literary conference and Mr. Jasper Fforde is there, I am gonna say something.
Talk about it.
Gonna have some words with Jas.
Yeah. I don't know why I've decided that is clearly how you need to shorten Jasper. It's a terrible sound, Jas.
Jas.
And
Well,
he's from the UK, so people probably call him Jez.
Jezza. Oh, God.
Right?
Do you think anyone's ever called him Jezza? I bet he didn't appreciate it. Hey, everyone, start calling him Jezza.
Just be like, hey, Jezza, when's your fucking book coming out, you dick?
That being said, we do love
motherfucking dick.
we do love this book.
We do. I felt immediately bad the second I said that. But
What's the first name of the guy whose last name is Lemon Sky? It's such a crazy name.
There's some pretty bananas
It starts with a J
in this jet.
And I'm sure that that's a regular name, but it's crazy.
We've gone a little bit nuts. We're just talking over each other. We're in a flurry of feelings.
We're all head up.
Ugh. Look what you've
So
done.
let's talk about chromotherapy.
Okay, hit me with it. I'm very excited.
You know what? Let's look at some calming Garibaldi blue and just relax.
Just a second,
Just
I gotta
relax.
Google that. Just gotta Google it real quick. Hold on. Garibaldi, you say?
Oh, Gordini.
Gordini.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought, okay. Gordini. Nope, not Gordibby. Wow, this is just
So you have to,
such
in order
good
to get to
radio.
it, you have to go to the Wikipedia page, and just put in Gordini blue or French blue.
Yeah,
and then
well,
you'll get that
I mean,
color.
I put it into Google Images, and now I'm just staring at some really lovely photographs of cars, and I'm just gonna keep looking at these. And Bridget, just take it away.
So, chromotherapy is long been studied. I hope you heard those air quotes because they were real big. So chromotherapy, you can find it in all kinds of stuff like, studies of auras and chakras, feng shui, which, I may not always necessarily agree with the idea behind it, but it does give you a nice way to arrange your room. So, color, supposedly supposed to do things for you. You're supposed to paint. Yellow is a good color for your kitchen because it supposedly aids in digestion. Orange is a creative color. Green and blue green is more of an energetic color. Blue is very calming. Red is a color of passion and energy.
You got any info on brown?
What?
I was just asking if you got
Brown.
any info on
I'm
brown.
trying to remember on brown.
'Cause I'm just sitting here in my brown bedroom because I like to live in a cave, and I'm just wondering what that's doing to me.
Brown is stability. It's grounding.
Fuck yeah, it is.
It's practical. It's a return to nature.
I'm deep in Mother Earth's womb.
Your womb. But yeah, so there's all kinds of associations with various and sundry colors. So while a swatchman is their version of a doctor because he has like this big book of swatches. At one point, Eddie takes a hit of lime.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Tomo and Cortland ask for an extra swatch of Lincoln, which is to make Lincoln is a very strong green, if I remember correctly.
Bridget, before we veer too far away from the moment a while ago where you said swatchman, I gotta say a pun.
Okay.
And I'm sorry.
No, I love and accept you.
Who swatches the swatchman?
Oh, taking that last thing back. Ooh, no. And
Look,
clearly,
Bridget.
as we're explained to in the book, no one.
No one swatches them. They swatch
Except
themselves.
for head office, they swatch themselves.
It's an onanistic practice, swatching. Sorry.
Gross. So it also causes a trigger for a horrible fungus-based death. Now, while such strong reactions are not triggered in people today, us riffraff, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
it is the closest that we have to this is gonna be how color is used in advertising.
Hit me with it. This is my shit.
So
This is my shit, Bridget. I'm very jazzed.
So in advertising, color theory is used all the time. You watch Mad Men, if you were like me and you watched every Mad Men every week it came out from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. You know all about how different things affect different people. You have to appeal to certain primal instincts in people when you do advertising. So, for example, you have bright, warm colors like the beiges and the oranges and the reds and like a bright pink that's going to give you a lot of energy and a lot of like boldness. You put like you put red on a car advertisement and it's like, oh yeah, now I'm getting revved up. In feng shui, red cars are very yang. They're very yang masculine energy. They're considered to be what's the word I'm looking for? Impetuous.
Ooh.
Very volatile.
Ooh, an impetuous color. I'm
Yes.
very much about this.
So, but then you have your, like, if you have your cold, bright colors, so like your lavenders and your silver and stuff, it's very modern, it's sleek, it's professional. It's professional and it's elegant. So, you know, you pop that, you pop that on like a winter sale advertisement at a Banana Republic or a J. Crew, and it's like, oh, I will go shopping here for my holiday clothes.
It strikes me
because this is
that
elegant.
This is very much a Gryffindor versus Slytherin question as well.
Yeah, well, because
I'm
dark,
13
cool,
and would like
dark
to bring
colors.
up my house allegiance. Hello, I am a Slytherin.
Oh yeah, we're both Slytherin.
Fuck,
If
yeah,
that is
best house. You were saying.
If that has not become apparent from how much we just laid into this dude
that we
about him
love,
not finishing
but
a book.
We want him to do something for us, and so
Yeah.
we will stop at nothing.
We will hunt him to the end of the... But so, like, so warm, dark colors, like your brown in advertising, you know, your golds, your dark purples, your jewel tones, but on the warm side, are going to be luxurious and classic. You know, you think of a study.
May I offer a word?
Yes.
Sumptuous.
Sumptuous, yes. So, they're usually more rustic sometimes, but in a way that feels rich when you use these colors. You see these in a lot of, like, you'll see it's a mix between cool dark colors, which give more like stability and quality and ambition and hard working. Mm-hmm. You see these paired a lot together in a lot of advertising for outdoor gear.
Interesting.
Because you want something that is very classic, mm-hmm. and you want something that is also very hardworking, and it's going to endure. And brown is a color of endurance.
Nice.
You put these two together, you get this advertisement that's telling you, you know what, I do want to buy from that brand because they seem like they know what they're doing.
I'm sold.
So yeah,
Give me a jacket.
That is as close as we get to chromotherapy, other than, you know, you want to paint a doctor's office a certain color. You're not going to paint a doctor's office a bright red. You're going to paint it muted tones because you want it to be a calming environment so that someone's not going to freak out, in addition to, I don't know, having the tip of their finger cut off.
They're just going to be chill as fuck walking on in there and be like, we could do this Tuesday.
Same thing for, you know, the Google offices, for example. When you see pictures of them, are very bright and colorful. They're the Google colors, which, you know, energy and creativity is what the colors of Google say. They're the primary colors, but they're such a shade that they scream, hey, you're going to do something.
Nice.
So, yeah. So that is our, hey, it could happen.
Hell yeah. Get Wheels and VidKit in here to tell us more about the wonderful futures we're going to experience. Sorry, I was in the middle of stretching. I got way too casual this episode, and I must be forgiven.
You're just leaning into it.
I am, you know?
Let's talk about characters. One, fuck Tomo.
Yeah, Tomo's the fucking worst.
Tomo's the worst, which now, so... first time I read this book around, a little band called One Direction didn't exist. They were all still in high school.
Okay.
Gross.
I'm not sure how this is connecting.
So, Louis Tomlinson's nickname is
motherfucker.
Tomo.
I cannot believe you just brought your trash son to a book fight.
I'm just saying, going back, I naturally want to be endeared to that name. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, I want to like you because you have a good nickname. But God, you're the worst kind of trash.
I will also say he is.
I don't know if you might be
trash.
He's so extremely Slytherin trash. But, I mean, you can hate your own kind. If anything, that's the hallmark of our houses.
It's true.
Trust no one!
Especially my roommate.
Yeah. It's... God, yeah. He's just... Ooh, Tomo's just the worst. Possibly worse than Cortland, the murderer!
Yeah, Cortland's bad news, man. But, like, Cortland's upfront about it. Tomo acts like your buddy.
Tomo acts like your buddy, and then he sells you out for, like, 50 merits, which is not that much.
Yeah. He, like, ruins lives for, like...
a bit of cash.
Yeah. Oh, God, he's the fucking worst. What's her name? The yellow lady is also pretty...
Gamboge.
Yeah, Gamboge.
Sally
Gamboge.
The Gamboge
Shit
is
city.
Bunty McMustard. Great name. Super British. That might be one of the most British names. Oh, it's Jabez. It's Jabez Lemon Sky.
There we go.
With an E. Jabez Lemon Sky and Bunty McMustard are tied for the most British names. I will say, so, it took me, I was like, I don't know. When you declare yourself, you're like, I'm gay, leave me alone. Mm-hmm. Is what that means. I did appreciate Doug Crimson when Tomo said you could always declare yourself, and then Doug Crimson winks at another dude.
Hey.
Because everybody's just you knowing in this book.
Yeah. It's also delightful to me that they call sex, and thinging is masturbating. Yeah. And you're supposed to sing a song while you masturbate so no one knows to bother you. I love all the detail of the rules.
And like, I forget what it's like called, like something relating to a wool shop. Mm-hmm. Is like fucking on the DL.
Isn't it called pulling wool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, and so they call like that she's gonna be in the wool shop for Melanie.
Such a weird book. Real quick about the rule book. So
yes.
This is probably solely because I had a somewhat striking cinematic experience recently, which I talked about in Bridget's and my friendly group chat that we have with some of our friends. But hey, podcast listeners, you aren't in it, so let me talk about it.
Yeah.
I saw the movie Election recently, starring Matthew Broderick and Reese Witherspoon. And first of all, that movie is not what it was pitched to me as at all, which was like a goofy, zany, almost Mean Girls-esque tale about a girl who will stop at nothing to get her own way. That movie is about a guy whose best friend committed statutory rape against a high school girl. And then the main character, Matthew Broderick, who was the friend of the guy who did that, just has a real big grudge against her because his friend got fired for doing that horrible thing. But the first scene that they kind of have together that's like sort of showing you who they both are, him as the teacher and her as a student, it's a classroom discussion of ethics versus morals. Which is like, I think, sort of the main crux of this book. The thing that makes it a dystopia is that it's a government based on arbitrary ethics, because ethics are rules and morals are principles, and so government should be based on principle rather than just making up rules for people to follow. And this is just the most extreme version of stupid rules.
The whole thing where it's like, oh, the notorious snack smack thing. And how it's an art of, like, loopholing.
Yeah. And so,
and the reason why Eddie is on this list of, like, being shipped out to the outer fringes and like, potentially could be mildewed is because he wanted to figure out, he wanted to basically make the take a number system for queuing.
Yeah.
He wanted to do take a number, and that was
And they were
illegal.
like, this man is dangerous.
He
must be
die.
But yeah, so like that, and I've been watching The Good Place recently. I just feel like all of the media that I have been consuming in the past couple of months has just been leading up to me reading this book and having a whole bunch of feelings about ethics. That's all.
There are some ethical issues with, obviously, when Violet tricks Eddie into impregnating her.
Fucking what with that?
Yeah.
And his dad helped. Oh boy. You know?
Yeah. It's, extremely, extremely problematic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, oh boy.
I mean, everything about the world that they're in is, like, terrible and tolerable, if that makes sense. Like, it's like things that you can get away with without causing a ruckus to the other person's, like, physical being, but just leaving them, like, emotionally and psychologically wrecked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least in the echelon of society that Eddie lives in.
Yeah, the colortocracy, I guess?
Yeah.
The way they treat the Greys is horrific, especially Sally Gamboge, where it's like, they work until they die. Until they are shown the mildew.
Yeah. Well, the way that she does it.
Yes, the way that she does it. Yeah, not everyone does it that way, but the way she does it for sure.
The way that
also the fact that Jane says, hang on, let me pull this out. It's pretty early on. Bear with, hang on, I'm almost to it. It's when he's talking to Jane.
He does that a fair few times in this book.
Yeah.
This old tome.
Oh god, it's when she's making the scones.
Oh, yeah.
And she asks, what to use in them. Hang on.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Do you want me to talk about it, or do you want to find the exact quote?
No, I'm not gonna find it, because I thought I had bookmarked it. I can't. Hang on.
But she asks him if he wants her to use vegetable oil or tallow, and then she says, just so you know, there might be residents in the tallow.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, use the tallow. I don't care.
Yeah. It's very much like if you are returned from whence you came, and like you kind of have to wonder, is that bone meal that he uses in the cake?
Yeah.
The sponge cake that Dorian uses in the sponge cake, is that people bones?
I mean, almost certainly, because they also show you they show you the place where, like, all of the sewage is processed, which is right next to where all of the bodies are processed.
Yeah.
And he's
It's
kind of threatened that he
decidedly
might have to work
disgusting.
there. And,
Yeah. It's super gross. I will also say that, like, when they're talking about Dorian's pictures and he shows him the picture he took and, like, the way the, like, blood splattered against a window as one of the Greys was decapitated trying to work.
Yeah.
And they're like, the detachment that they view it with is terrifying.
Yeah. It truly is.
So, speaking of the way that people react to stuff terrifyingly, and just some real terrible characters, do you have You're Doing Amazing, Sweetie?
Yes.
I know, it's a rough one this week, I'm sure.
Here's the thing. I think I need some, like, administrative clarification between the two of us before I pick.
Yes.
So, You're doing amazing, sweetie. I feel like the way that I interpret that phrase is like a very like comforting, affectionate sort of like, oh, honey, like kind of like a cradling with words.
Yes. They're not necessarily like our hero of the story.
Yeah.
Honestly, as we've seen, they're usually not.
Yeah.
This has been proven in the last all books. It's usually a person that it's like, you're doing the best in a bad situation. You're not doing anything that's contributing to this dystopia. You're just trying to live your life. Usually you're helping our hero out, minus the mechanical hound.
Yeah.
You're a voice, you're a breath of fresh air.
Okay, I have it.
In a sewage pit, yes.
Because obviously, like, the true hero of the book here is Jane.
God, love Jane.
So she's
not
tremendous, but she's not, she's like...
She ain't no sweetie.
She's no sweetie, and like, she would punch me in the face and take my eyebrow for suggesting so. And so my sweetie, who is doing amazing, is Lucy Oker.
Aww,
because
Lucy.
she's been through a rough time. Her father was murdered. Her entire town doesn't give a shit about it. She's part of a family that was trying to do their best to help the injustice of the world. She might have not been directly involved in that, but she clearly has an inner drive towards finding the truth with her interest in the music of the spears and the large tuning forks and such.
Also, how she talks to the apocryphal man. Like, she immediately knows, oh, you need, like, because he asks her Loganberry Jam, and she's like, oh, you've been asking him questions? Yeah, me too. I haven't gotten a lot out of him because I don't have a lot.
Yeah. And so, like, I think that the fact that Eddie does eventually recognize the apocryphal man is largely due to the fact that he's growing as a character, and he's starting to like recognize people's humanity through seeing through the fog of the rules of his culture. And the way that the casual sort of knowing way that Lucy says it, like, it's not explicitly said in the book, but my reading of it was that she'd been doing it for a while. Like, she's just kind of like, he's he's almost like a fairy tale creature that just happens to be real. He's a historian, and if anything, I almost feel like because of how old he is, over 400 years old. Mm-hmm. And the way that he talks about that, like, that we are here for historians. Yeah. So
that they have something to record. I'm like, is Homeboy a robot?
I mean, he's so old. There's no way. Unless everyone's dead. That's you. Because he is seen peeing.
Yeah.
So, weird robot, if he's a robot.
I don't know, maybe he's like
made
from
by
fucking...
a pervert who...
One of those robots from AI or something.
Huh?
Oh, have you never seen the film AI starring...
Bridget,
Haley Joel Osment?
Do I too much enjoy that movie that everyone makes fun of? Do I, like, secretly love it with all of my heart?
Oh.
Yes, I do. Come away, O human child, to the waters and the wild, with a fairy hand in hand, for the world's more full of weeping than you can understand. Yeah, I know about AI.
It's, God, such a good movie. I'm sorry, like, these are the hot takes. This podcast is taking a stand.
Yeah,
it's taking a hard
AI
stance.
Fucking stand.
AI is very good. The scene where they're going to be, where him and Jude Law are going to be ripped apart is terrifying.
Brendan Gleeson's voice as he's going, any old iron down there. It's just, I mean, how's that not fun? Where does that not get fun? That's just a treat.
It's such a good movie, and God, what an ending. Oh.
It gets ya.
Gets me
you right where
every
it needs to.
goddamn fucking time.
I'm not...
I can say that about so many Haley Joel Osment movies. Also a good movie.
Secondhand Lions.
Secondhand Lions.
Did we say it at the same time? I was really hoping
we did. We said it.
Yeah.
We said it basically at the same time. Yeah.
Fuck yes.
So good.
Did you know that a lot of the artwork in that movie is done by Burke Breeze, who did Bloom County? We are getting really niche again.
Yes. Oh, no, yes. Oh, Caitlin?
Huh?
Hey, Caitlin? I've been reading Bloom County since I was like a little baby.
Oh, hi, guess what? Me too. How have we ever in our entire lives talked about this?
Hey, which parent of yours liked Bloom County?
It was
it your
father.
Dad? It was also my dad.
Does your dad have a stuffed Opus toy?
I wish. My dad probably also wishes. No, I love Bloom County. I love Burke Breeze books for kids.
Oh, he's so good.
The actual Mars Needs Moms. Oh, heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Oh,
for my dad,
they fucked that movie up real bad.
Christmas present last year or the year before, I don't remember. I got him the animated movie A Wish for Wings That Work.
Oh. Hey, have you been following any of his recent stuff? Because it's also very sad. Steve Dallas kind of starts
oh yeah, with
the kid who has like severe cancer. Yeah,
and he Steve Dallas is somehow having a character arc, and you're like, oh, okay,
we're doing one of these again. He's had a couple in the history of it, but where he's just like he needs so desperately for his son figure to get better. Oh
yeah, it's a lot.
Getting emotional.
He's really going for it. Is our good friend Burke.
Burke is getting just fucking ass deep in emotions and political stances and
welcome to our new
good
podcast, Burke Breathed, a retrospective.
I mean, I still love that Opus is on the is it the Black Mango tea? He's still on one of the Honest teas.
Is he?
Yes, he is on one of the teas, and he is in I think it's the Black Peach tea.
Oh,
and he's on there, and he's wearing a little beret and a little French sailor shirt.
Oh, that's my good friend. That's my good buddy.
That's my good buddy Opus.
Well,
he's just looking for love in all the wrong places.
Usually on phone sex lines. That little flightless rapscallion.
Oh man. God. Anyway,
do not remember at all what we were talking about.
I don't either. We were talking about that the apocryphal man is a robot.
Right. I don't know how we got from point A to point B, but God bless us for doing it. Yeah. So.
Oh,
I also had a ranking.
I am back home now because my dog just barked.
Oh.
Yeah, there he goes.
I had a ranking for my my sweeties, and it was Lucy Oker, the apocryphal man, and what's her name? The librarian lady.
Oh, Lapis Lazuli.
Yeah,
Miss Lapis Lazuli. I will also say that I'm pretty fond of Daisy and Doug Crimson.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily doing anything particularly sweet or trying to get out of their situation, but I do love their kind of light-hearted, friendly nature. It's very nice to see that in, it's such a shitty situation otherwise. That they're very, like I said, I appreciate Doug's wink towards another guy on you could just declare yourself.
Yeah.
It was just so nice.
I do think we would be remiss in talking about sweeties to not at least give a nod to Imogen and her beau, whose name I've forgotten because there are a lot of names. Dorian. It's
Imogen and Dorian. Poor Imogen and Dorian. Who, assuming that you've read this book, they did their best, they did not succeed, and they are sent off to be rebooted, which is, to be, given the mildew and swallowed up by the perpetualite in wherever this Emerald City is. So presumably, by the way, High Saffron is the old Emerald City.
Yeah, it does seem that way, for sure.
That, like, they're like, this perpetualite, full up. Can't use it anymore. There's just no more room for bodies. So it just, presumably Emerald City is the new. Also, like, all of the Oz stuff was very interesting because they have this mythology of flying monkeys.
Yeah.
And okay, are pukas in Wizard of Oz? Or in the Wizard of Oz mythos? Okay, because I feel like they're in the books. I read them when I was very little, and I don't remember much of them, because it wasn't that I was reading beyond my comprehension level.
No.
It was just in such old-timey old people speak that I didn't get it.
Yeah. See, I didn't read the Oz books. I was more of a Chronicles of Narnia completionist.
Oh, yeah. I still don't like the last one.
You don't like the last battle?
I don't like the last battle.
Girl, we're so different, and it makes the friendship rich.
We're so alike, but yet sometimes we're so different.
Yeah. Look, we've consumed everything.
I mean, okay. What is the best BBC adaptation movie of Chronicles of Narnia is, what do you think it is? Because I know what I think it is.
This is a cruel question that you're asking me. And frankly, how dare you? I mean, okay, oh, God.
By the way, a puka is an Irish ghost.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
That create harm and mischief. It's a fairy spirit.
Oh, a sentence I would think we would be just, real quick, remiss not to bring up is, I forget who said it, but that quote that is so very important in a lot of sci-fi, and I think is the basis for a lot of how I think people should take in this book. Any technology that is sufficiently advanced will be indistinguishable from magic. That's kind of how I feel about this book.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because for a very long time, I wasn't sure if it was kind of a Wizard of Oz sort of retelling, sort of like Wicked-esque.
Yeah.
And it was just like kind of explaining
and the
technology.
Way that, yeah, where like the ghosts are presumably pieces of your cortex that need to fire off that are triggered by certain colors being viewed together, which is why they stopped them from finishing that mural, because they were starting to remember things.
Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Really? Oh, see, my favorite is Silver Chair.
Oh, Silver Chair is on the list. See,
I mean, Caitlin, they're all on the list.
Yeah, they're all on the list because they're all tremendous, Bridget. Here's...
How do you not love, what's his name? The Marshwiggle.
That's what I was gonna say. Because him... It just plain, even if you don't have the context of him having been Doctor Who, that guy, when they're underground and the witch is like trying to convince him that that lamp is the sun, and he just starts having a panic attack and going, I'm a Marshwiggle! I'm a Marshwiggle! Is like, I mean, cinematic gold, my
also,
friend.
The genuine, like, tension, it's Puddleglum, the best name.
Oh yeah, Puddleglum the Marshwiggle.
Puddleglum the Marshwiggle. But the genuine tension when they're when they're, like, in the giant kitchen.
Oh my god!
So very good.
So, a quick aside, has nothing actually to do with the plot of this book. Not that that's ever stopped us from talking about anything before. But, so there are elements of this book, obviously, that have reminded us of a lot of different things. Douglas Adams isn't not on the list.
Terry Pratchett, he's
Pratchett,
up there too.
For sure. There is a book that I just kind of wanted to suggest to you if you have not read it, if you like this book, because I kept getting reminded of it in ways that I couldn't quite place. Like, the logic of this world is so opaque, kind of. And I feel like the logic of the main character of this book I'm about to suggest is opaque in comparable ways, but in a more loving and wholesome way. The book Come Thou Tortoise.
I have not read that.
It's way good. And I think I might have a hard copy. Next time we see each other, I shall lend it to you, my friend. But also, podcast audience, you should absolutely read Come Thou Tortoise. It was recommended to me by my very good friend and a very talented and competent artist in many fields, Casey Middaugh. Shouts. And it's just incredible. And it was mind-alteringly good to me in the same way that this book was. And I just want all of us to enrich our lives with more of whatever the fuck it is that Shades of Grey by Jasper Fforde is offering us.
And is refusing to give us more of.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there, because I do feel very bad about calling him a turgid dick. So that
I hope he listens to this podcast.
Look, but what if he feels it, you know? He's a very feeling man, and I don't want him to sense it out there in the ether. Should we introduce the book that we're going to be reading next?
Yeah, you can do that, because I don't have the list in front of me, and I forgot. I want to say it's another young adult novel, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to switch off every week, and sometimes we're surprised, because sometimes the young adult novels are good, and the adult novels are bad. Literature, all these typings are a concept. They're just, like, time. Anyway, so what's next week's book?
Okay, I'm sorry, Bridget. It's not going to be a fun one. We got treated to a real big treat with this one, and then we're plummeting right down to the depths.
We gorged ourselves on the delicious giant cheesecake, and now we're like, oh no, that was too much cheesecake.
I'm glad we saved one Brussels sprout for afterwards, just to ruin things for ourselves. This is maybe unfair because I haven't read it, but it's The Program by Suzanne Young.
Oh, yeah. That very bad book.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but when we were picking what we were going to read, when we were first starting out, Bridget said that she had heard of this and that it was supposed to be the fucking worst. So that is what we have set for ourselves as an assignment. We fell a little bit behind our, backlog schedule in the move and the holidays.
Good.
So...
But now we are in the same state, so we could even, I don't know, not to peer behind the curtain too much, do 2 episodes at one time.
We could also maybe do a special episode where we just record in the room while we're reading side by side, and then
give you that real good ASMR experience. Yeah. We'll put our books right up to the microphone,
just a surround sound. I'll start talking into the mic like this and really enunciating all of the S's and the K's and going and then people are going to be like, what is this podcast, though? Thank you for listening, I guess is what I'm saying.
Thank you so much for listening, guys.
We will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Could Be Worse. If you enjoyed the episode, please consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing our podcast on Stitcher, Google Play, or the iTunes Store, or, wherever you get your podcasts. We're trying to make sure that we're out there as much as possible, so if you don't see us on your favorite podcast venue, please let us know. You can check out our website at couldbeworsepod.com, follow the podcast on Twitter or Facebook with the handle @couldbeworsepod, and check out more from your humble and loving hosts on Twitter and Instagram at the handles @MagnesiumQueen for Bridget and @Caitlin Obum for me, your humble junior counselor for this evening, Caitlin Obum. Also, if you'd be interested in seeing some live work by yours truly, I have a show going up at the Slate Theater in Seattle on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It is a musical comedy about lonely aliens in popular culture, and everyone who saw the initial version was either just extremely nice about it or genuinely enjoyed themselves immensely. So go to www.slatetheater.com. It will be under current events. Love Snack presents Fifth Kind. Buy your tickets today if that is your thing. Okay. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks with The Program by Suzanne Young.